I told you. I told you after qualifying that we had an incredible British Grand Prix in the offing. And what happened? An absolute instant classic. This is going to go down as one of the greatest British Grand Prix ever, without a doubt. And I'm going to get into exactly why with the 5 things that we learned from the 2025 British Grand Prix. Of course, guys, maybe it won't get the top of the vote. Hamilton's victory in 2024 was more emotional. Of course, that recently run a poll that was run by F1 for the best ever British Grand Prix. We'll debate about whether it actually is another time or not. But 2025 definitely gave it a run for its money. So let's dive in, guys. Why was this such a special race? Well, the weather really played a part in this one. We started out in intermediate conditions. It wasn't raining at this point, but the track was damp. Everybody started on the intermediate tyres, but a few guys decided to come into the pits for slicks before we actually got underway. So we kind of had a two kind of class race, if anything, you know, the guys who started on the slicks and those who started on the intermediates. And in the end, on the whole, it was the guys who started on the intermediates that did better. But those who started on the slicks, they definitely had their advantages at different points during this race. But let's focus on the guys who won this race, because despite Max Verstappen starting on pole position, we'll talk about him very shortly, don't worry, it was a McLaren 1-2. Once these guys got clear of the pack, they were absolutely in a class of their own. I think they won by like 30 seconds. Over 30 seconds did Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. And it was Lando Norris who got out to win his home race for the first time in his career. A bit of a redemption arc for him. Of course, he led in the early stages of 23. In 24, he probably would have won had his McLaren team done a better pit stop and a better pit strategy. But as it was, didn't quite fall for him. But it fell for him today. But there was more than a bit of good fortune about it. You know, no disrespect to Lando Norris whatsoever. Unlike his teammate Oscar Piastri, he never ran off the track. Piastri was driving very angry to try and make up the gap to his teammate. But let's just explain the situation here. So, Oscar Piastri was leading at one of the many safety car restarts. A number of different safety cars and VSCs, somehow no red flags during this one for a bunch of different guys retiring. Again, I'll speak about them later in the video. But at one of these restarts, Max Verstappen was behind Oscar Piastri. Verstappen, in his words, had to slam on the brake. He actually briefly overtook Oscar Piastri, and in the eyes of the stewards, unfortunately for Oscar Piastri, he did something that he wasn't allowed to do. He was unnecessarily slowing down. I will speak more in depth about that penalty in a separate video, but for the fact of this video, let's just stick to what happened here. He got a 10-second penalty. He led ahead of Lando Norris for the majority of what happened after that. The gap was hovering around anywhere between 1.5 and like 4 or 5 seconds or so. It ebbed and flowed as the race went on, and then when they eventually stopped late on for dry tyres, Piastri took his 10-second penalty. Lando Norris, when he came in a lap later, obviously came out ahead, but Piastri actually made that gap down to about 5 seconds from what would have been at least 10 before that. So fair play to him. He really gave it a good go. He ran off the track at one point as well, trying to catch up to his teammate. Congratulations to Lando Norris. Piastri, though, really controversial penalty. And I'll be honest, on what I've seen so far, and I have not seen the onboard yet from Oscar Piastri, which is absolutely crucial. I'm shocked that the Formula 1 television feed did not show that. They showed every other angle. They showed the offboard angle. They showed the angle from Max Verstappen's car, but they never showed it from Oscar Piastri's. And I really want to see that before forming a full opinion on it. But honestly, I do agree with what David Coulthard and Jolyon Palmer was saying on Channel 4 here in the UK. It seemed like a really harsh penalty for Oscar Piastri. I think if he really did do something a bit worse than that, maybe a 5-second penalty would have been more appropriate. But I'll be honest, I didn't really see too much wrong with that. That's just my initial opinion. I need to see the onboard with Oscar Piastri, though, before forming a full opinion. We've still got 4 points to go. There's so much that happened in this race. But let's talk about Max Verstappen. So immediately after that incident where Piastri eventually got that penalty for slowing down too much at the safety car restart, Max Verstappen, I mean, he was running a setup that had a very low rear wing angle that made it very hard for people to overtake him. But the downside of that is, particularly when you are in wet and damp and tricky conditions, and unfortunately you just don't have any rear grip, and that basically is what happened at the restart going through Stowe. He just basically lit up the rear tyres from what we could see, spun around, got down to about, I think it was about 11th or 12th place, and he actually did a pretty good recovery drive from then. He was complaining on the radio that he had absolutely no grip, but he did have more grip than most of the guys around him. He still managed to recover all the way back to P5, which, considering at the halfway point of the race he was outside of the point, I think is a good recovery drive, but he's not going to be happy with his performance in this one. But he did keep the lead for a while at the start. He did do a good job overall. It was just that one mistake was absolutely absolutely crucial and really destroyed his chances of getting a podium at that point. But who got the podium? We had Lando Norris in P1. We had Oscar Piastri in P2. Lewis Hamilton, was he in there? He's got that run of British Grand Prix podiums. Charles Leclerc, you can't discount him. You've got George Russell as well. Very good in wet conditions. Who was it, though? Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Hülkenberg has a podium finish in Formula 1. Am I dreaming? Did someone slip something in my coffee while I was watching this race? What's going on, man? I honestly, I thought that P5 finish for him in Spain was unbelievable. Like, he's never going to better that in that Sauber. That Sauber is not a good car. My goodness me. I mean, I'm sure there's been some upgrades on that have helped. His teammate didn't do too great today. He was one of the many guys who crashed out. But Hülkenberg, P3 in the Sauber. He's done it. The longest streak without a podium in Formula 1 history. Hülkenberg also has the record still for the most starts in Formula 1 without a victory, let alone a podium. He's been racing for so many midfield teams. Williams, Force India, Racing Point, Aston Martin, Renault. He's raced for them all. He's come so close on so many occasions, and I am so happy for him. I am so pleased for him, honestly. I'm happy for Lando Norris winning this home race. Of course I am. But Hülkenberg getting a podium in a Sauber, that is the bigger story here. That's the first podium that he has gotten, that Sauber has gotten since, 2012? Sergio Perez, I think? I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, guys, I've just plucked that one out of the air, but I believe it's been 13 years. Hülkenberg has been in Formula 1 on and off, mainly on, since 2010. He's been waiting 15 years for this. He has come so close, and I'm going to do a separate video on him because he started at the back as well. He started in 19th place. He just got on the right tyres at the right time. He took advantage. He got past Lance Stroll, who was actually doing really well to get a provisional podium position at that point. He held off Lewis Hamilton. He pitted a lap after Hamilton for the slick tyres. And he made it work. I'm so happy for him. Honest, I could not be happier for him. The man who's been mocked and derided constantly. People saying that he's not good enough for Formula 1. He's a bottle job. He's not worthy of a seat. He's got a podium. Finally done it. I love Hulk. I'm so happy for him. Genuinely, I really am. I'm a little gutted for Lewis Hamilton. Fourth thing we'll talk about, P4. His podium streak at the British Grand Prix, unfortunately, is over. For those who didn't tune into the preview content, basically Hamilton has had a podium finish at the British Grand Prix every single year since 2014, 11 races in a row. And that one in 2013, he was in fourth as well. He was fourth again today. It didn't fall for him. There were certain points in this race where he looked really uncomfortable in the car, particularly when it was really wet. Charles Leclerc, his teammate, also struggled as well. That Ferrari is not a good car in the wet. I think it's pretty clear. He is very good in the wet, and he's very good at Silverstone. He almost dragged it to a podium finish, so fair play to him. Not the worst day by any means. P4, big points for Ferrari in the championship. He'll be gutted to miss out on a podium. There wasn't really an opportunity to get past Hulk. He just couldn't quite get close enough, even with DRS and kind of the intermediate conditions, to pass him. So that is the way the cookie crumbles, but man, speaking of cookies crumble though, rookie cookies, that's terrible. I'm leaving that in, I don't care. Rookie cookies, unfortunately, they were crumbling absolutely all around for all the rookies in this one. Colapinto, Lawson, Bortoleto, Hadjar, all spun off, all crashed, all out of the race. Antonelli was rear-ended as well in an accident, unfortunately. Nothing he could do about it. I think it was Hadjar actually hit him. And Antonelli, he continued for a little bit, but it was pretty clear, just going off the damage to the underside of his car, that he had no pace. So they retired the car at that point. The only rookie that finished was Ollie Behrman, who got took out by his teammate, Esteban Ocon. I mean, it's not like Ocon to take out his teammate, is it? He never does that. And he's done it now to Ollie Behrman. The man's got an absolute rap sheet at this point. I mean, I might make a video about Ocon, because he's had a good season on the whole, but my word, he's had a shocker today. He really has with that. He's broken the golden rule again for his team. But let's not dwell on that. Terrible day for the rookies. Unbelievable day for one of the most experienced men in Grand Prix racing, Nico Hülkenberg, on the podium in a Sauber. I mean, I'm recording this literally after it. I'm looking at the scene now. We've got Hulk in the podium interview thing before they go out onto the actual podium ceremony. It's just so weird seeing a dude in green and black overalls there with the McLarens. Like, how did he get here? How did he get here? He got here through some absolutely world-class driving. That's how he did it. I'm so hyped from it. Oh, what an incredible race this was, guys. Honestly, I'll be doing a bunch of videos also reacting to some things as well, so stay tuned for that on the channel. Rate this race out of 10. For me, it's got to be at least a 9. I mean, maybe a little less safety car being out there. I totally understand why it was out there, by the way. Many big crashes, many big showers of rain as well. I totally get it. I would have liked a little bit more racing action, maybe, but realistically, that's never going to happen in modern Grand Prix racing because of the safety. You got to respect it. So yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more like this, guys. Have a fantastic day wherever in the world today. And yeah, God bless you, Nico Hulkenberg. What a man. What a man.